Hi everyone, welcome to Mindful Crafts and More. I'm Katrina. If this is your first time checking out the channel, welcome. Take a look at this video or any of my other videos. If you find yourself inspired, join my channel. Those of you who are returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you just hanging out with me for a bit. So, hi everyone. Today I have just exciting news for you, and this has been long awaited. I have hinted to it for some time, and I don't even know if you guys realize what I was hinting to, but now hopefully it will all make sense. A long time ago, I went ahead and I uploaded something to my community page, and I asked a question. What do you think the original purpose for this yarn was? And this was the photo that I showed here. A few people answered it, and some of you guys got it right, and some of you were wondering, I'm not sure. But the answer to it is sock yarn, okay? I was using sock yarn, but I wasn't making socks. Okay, so I have a lot of sock yarn, and I know that many of you guys do too. And we all purchase it because it's beautiful, and many times we do have the intention on going ahead and making lots and lots of beautiful socks. But one thing leads to another. We get creative and we start doing other things, and we don't get around to using all of that beautiful yarn for the socks. And so the yarn just kind of sits there being very long, and it doesn't get used. Well, I came up with an idea, and I think that you guys have all probably come up with this idea before. I know that there have been challenges in the past, and I stumbled upon a beautiful book that also shows what you can do with sock yarn. So here's the book that I have here. It's a wonderful book called Sock Yarn, One Skein Wonders. And in this book are just some beautiful items that you can make, 101 in fact. And that is just great. So lots and lots of inspiration. As you see here on the cover, you can make sweaters, you can make wrist warmers, or just beautiful fingerless gloves. You can make bags, just all kind of stuff. All right. And on the back here, they show wearables, and of course there's socks, but you can do lots of things with one skein of sock yarn. Imagine that. All right. So there are a few things that are in here that as I was searching through, I just thought, oh my gosh, wonderful. Look at this beautiful scarf. Look at that. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And there are gloves in here. There are just, the possibilities are endless. Look at that. Beautiful gloves. I don't want to give away the pattern, so I'm trying to be careful. And look at that. A beautiful soap cover. Okay, soap dispenser cover. Now, I've made those using worsted weight yarn, but I guess I never really thought of using sock yarn for it. But just beautiful stuff. And even for our furry babies, they have items in here for them as well. So this is a very good and comprehensive book that I think is just awesome. But as I was searching, I didn't just stop there. I also stumbled upon this beautiful book here. And this one is Sock Yarn Shawls. Now they have multiple editions of this one, and this one has 15 different patterns in it. And on the back here, just beautiful shawls here. Not necessarily very big, but definitely intricate because you are working with a very thin yarn, right? But yeah, just beautiful, beautiful things that you can consider doing with it. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? I just love it. Okay, so now the downside to this particular book is I saw many of the things that are in here are knit. So this one is all knit, okay? But the One Skein Wonders has some crochet items in here as well, all right? So let's see if I can find one right quick so I can share it with you guys so that you'll be able to see that there are some things in here for us crocheters. Okay, here we go. I'm going to use this to cover. Okay, look at that beautiful scarf. Isn't that beautiful? And it was made with sock yarn. How about that? All right. So I really got excited and I thought, oh my gosh, yes, I can find some things to do with my sock yarn. Now, as you guys recall in the past, I had some beautiful sock yarn that I showed you, and this is some of it remaining. This is the beautiful indigo quail sock yarn that I received from Darn Good Yarn. All right. And I just love it with the vibrant colors and everything. And what did I make with this? Do you guys recall what I made with it? I made an ampersand. Yes, I did. So I made a plushie with this, and this was from a book that I received from Darlene over at Discovering Knitting. And she was moving and she was trying to um, share some of the books that she had that she didn't think she would use anymore. And this was one of the books that I received, and it was called Knitting the Alphabet. All right. And yes, I had lots of fun making my ampersand, and it was just so cute. And I used this beautiful sock yarn for it. All right. So that's something you can make plushies with your sock yarn. Okay. So, and guess what, guys? It's not socks. All right. Okay. So, what else can you make with it? All right. So, in looking and trying to figure out what we could do with it, well, you can make something to protect your beautiful sock yarn, right? So, I looked and looked and looked and thought I could make a yarn cozy. Now, do you guys remember the yarn cozy that I showed you more recently? This one is made with worsted weight yarn, and it fit my yarn perfectly that I caked up. All right. All right. So I thought, okay, so I have an idea of the dimensions, but I wasn't sure about the stitch pattern for the sock yarn because it's so much thinner. But I did find a pattern. So this is for a knit sock yarn cozy. All right. And I will put the information on the screen for you for those of you guys who may want to make one for yourself. And I used this beautiful sock yarn that I purchased when I was on a trip traveling. I went to the local yarn store and I saw this yarn and I thought, that looks like that's some beautiful yarn and it'll work up just great. And I purchased it. But at the time, I didn't have a um, item in mind that I wanted to make with it. So it got put to the side. And yes, I found a little something to do with it. And you see, I have plenty remaining. Okay. All right. So now I don't have the ball band for this one. So I don't know um, the colorway or anything like that. Okay. And if I can find it, I will put it across the screen for you guys if I happen to locate what it is online. Okay. So now I made this beautiful sock yarn and you can see the beautiful pattern. Now the beauty of this particular cozy is it really is not very fancy in terms of stitch pattern, and it doesn't really have to be because you have self-patterning yarn. All right. So beautiful, easy to work on, very quick to do. And it used one ply of the sock yarn. All right. So once I made this one, I thought I want to see if I can crochet it and how it will work up. So that's what I did. So I made this. Now, this is my own creation. This is not a written pattern or anything. I probably could write it up if someone was interested in seeing what I did and share my recipe for how I made it. Okay. But I do like the way this came out. The only difference is, as you see, some of the patterning of the yarn is lost in the crochet. So to me, that means that this particular yarn really was made more for knitting and not necessarily for crochet, but that's okay. It still gave a beautiful outcome. I still like it, just not as much as I like the way this one turned out. Okay. But as you see, my yarn cozy, I think it's great, and it will hold a cake of sock yarn or maybe even a small DK weight yarn that's been caked up as well. Okay. Okay, so two different yarn cozies. Now, when I did this, I had some more yarn, a different type of yarn that can be used for socks, and that is this wool-like yarn. Okay, so it's called wool-like, and I purchased it from Michael's. Now, this is a very loosely wound yarn, so even though it looks like it is the same thickness, it doesn't work up to be the same. So this is a lot thinner actually than this sock yarn here. It's a lot thinner. And so I had to change my stitch pattern as I was going along. And initially I was actually trying to redo so that I knew the recipe for my cozy that I made. But that's okay. I ended up with something different. So now I have two different recipes for a crocheted yarn cozy because I made this. And I love the way this turned out. Again, I kind of came up with my own pattern. And this one, I still did it with a basic stitch because many times we use our sock yarns and they have patterns or stripes or something like that. And so I wanted to use a thickness that was thinner and see what I could come up with. But as you see, I still do have a little bit of texture in this, the way I did this one, and I love the way it came out. All right. So two different ones, two different yarns, but still beautiful yarn cozies made with sock yarn, and it's not socks. Okay. All right. So next, what else can we make with our sock yarn? All right. So the next thing is, in looking through the book, Once Game Wonders, I found lots of inspiration. And there is a beautiful, what they call necklace in there that I thought, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. Do I have yarn that I would like to use? And I did. So I have a skein of Patton's Croy sock yarn FX. And this one is called, let's see, the colorway is called Cadet Colors. Okay. So this one is called Cadet Colors. And what am I making with it? So this is a knit pattern, but that's okay. There are some ideas that we can get and perhaps make something crocheted as well. But this is, they're calling it a necklace. And I'm maybe about 1/3 of the way through, but look at that texture, guys. Look at that texture in this pattern. So now this employs a very interesting technique for the pattern. And to be honest, in order to get the technique down pat, I had to frog this about 4 times before I finally got it to work. And I will do a work on a whip with me, and you will be able to see how I figured out how to work on this and get it so that I can have a good rhythm as I'm working on it. Okay. But I love it. It's beautiful. It is working up just great. And I'm about 1/3 of the way done with it. Okay. So yes, you can make a skinny scarf or a scarf necklace with sock yarn. And guess what, guys? It's not socks. All right. Okay. So what else can you do with it? Well, when I first put word out that I was going to do something like this, I just put a few hints out on my community page. And I showed you guys a few photos. And this was a photo that I showed you here. And the question was, what was the original purpose for this yarn? And the answer is socks. But guess what? I didn't make socks. I made this. All right, so I made this beautiful beanie using my sock yarn. And what I did was I doubled it. I doubled the sock yarn and I took two skeins and I really tried hard. So this is the sock yarn that I used, and this is called Blue Raspberry, and it is Patton's Croy sock yarn. All right. So I took two skeins and I tried to see if I could locate close to the same area in the yarn. So I did color control this, all right? Now, it wasn't exact. It was close. It was close enough so that when you did the transitions, you would rarely see the actual transitions, that it would work up pretty close. And I am very pleased with the way it came out. Now, this is a nice, dense beanie. Okay. It's very nice and dense. It has a lot of elasticity to it. And I just love the way it turned out. Isn't this awesome, guys? Yes. So you can use your sock yarn to make beautiful beanies. And I use this 2-ply. So even if you don't want to work with a very thin yarn, you can ply it together in multiples and still get beautiful, beautiful results. You just have to make sure if you ply it that you have enough yarn to complete your project. That's what I would say. So I had more than two skeins of yarn just in case I needed it. Okay. But I didn't, and I didn't run out. So I have plenty of this yarn remaining to do something else with. Okay. So yes, I made a beanie using my sock yarn. And guess what, guys? It's not socks. Okay. All right. So there you have it. Quite a few things that you can do with sock yarn that's not socks and still come up with some very beautiful and useful results. Okay. So guess what? I want to do a challenge. And I would like for you guys to join in. Well, the challenge is not going to be very short. I'm going to run this through a whole year. Why? Because we have a whole lot of other things that we might be doing in the meantime. And we probably have quite a bit of sock yarn. At least I do. So I'm going to try to come up with different inspiration along the way so that I can share with you guys what I'm coming up with. And you guys can share with me what you're coming up with. So I hope you guys will get excited and consider joining in on this challenge. All right. So we're going to call it Socks, Not Socks. Okay. Now, to get things going and get things exciting, I thought that I would go ahead and try to do something motivational. And that is this. This beautiful book has 101 ideas on things that you can make with one skein of sock yarn. I think that's awesome. So I would like to do a bit of a giveaway to launch the start of this beautiful challenge. All right. And so I'm going to give away 2 copies of this beautiful book. All right. Now, this actually can be open to anyone as long as they can receive either a physical book or an ebook, because I just learned that you can actually purchase Kindle ebooks for people and you can gift them to them as long as, I believe for the ebooks, I think it has to be in the US. And I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, I think it has to be in the US, but I'm going to check and see if there is a way that I could get the book to you. Okay. So I would like to make it so that I could give this to anyone, no matter where you are. Okay. So I'm going to leave it open to international as well as US. Does that sound good? All right. So now, in addition to that, Pricilla, my Yarny bestie, has offered to make one of her beautiful bags and to share it with someone who would also like to be in this challenge. Okay. So we're going to do it as an incentive. But in order to do that, guys, you have to participate. Okay. So this is going to be the initial incentive for the socks, not socks challenge. All right. And we're going to say our keyword is going to be wonder. Okay. It's going to be wonder. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. You have to be 18 years or older to participate in any of these giveaways. It's void where prohibited. YouTube is not sponsoring this. I will be purchasing the books with my own funds, and Pricilla is donating it of her own with her own funds and her own handiwork. Okay. We are not affiliated with anybody, and we're not being sponsored. All right. I would love it if you are subscribed to my channel and to Priscilla's channel. That would be wonderful. Okay. And you have to leave the keyword. All right. I'm going to run this particular giveaway for the book. I'm going to run for a week. All right. And then we will go ahead and do the giveaway. Okay. And yes, let's run it for a week. And I would like to help to get you guys going too. So I'm going to purchase one of Priscilla's bags, and I'm going to leave it to her to come up with whatever design she wants to come up with. All right. So I will purchase one of her bags, and then she is going to be donating one of her bags to one of you guys as an incentive. Now, this is what I need. I would love it if one person is willing to be a content creator, okay, that's willing to also participate in this challenge to come up with ideas for sock yarn that's not socks. All right. And then the other person can be a subscriber. Okay. Now, this is going to go for an entire year. So we're going to periodically have incentives for you guys. And once a month, I would love it if you guys would send in photos of what you are doing, or if you would make a video to show what you're doing, and then tag us so that we can see what you're up to. All right. So yes, it is just motivational so that we can use our stash, use our beautiful sock yarn, and come up with some wonderful and creative ideas. All right. So the sky's the limit, guys. I've shown you a few ideas here. I'm sure Priscilla is going to come up with some beautiful ideas of her own. And I welcome you guys to come along on this journey with us as we try to figure out what to make with our sock yarn that's not socks. All right. So don't forget, leave the keyword below. Next week, we will pull a winner, and then we're going to go from there, just continuing to be inspired to use up our stash. Okay. So to each and every one of you guys, do everything you can to be mindful, do everything you can to be at your best self. And by all means, guys, be crafty every day. I look forward to seeing you again soon in my next video or one of yours. Bye-bye now.